In the world of business, knowledge isn't just power, it's your unfair advantage. This is Momentum, your deep dive into the books that shape the world's most successful leaders. Let's begin.
Have you ever felt like you were a prisoner to your own internal monologue? Think about that for a second. Have you ever had a difficult meeting or a frustrating interaction with a colleague and then spent the next 3 days replaying it in your head over and over again?
It's that mental loop we all get stuck in. Or maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum. Maybe you're the person who feels a wave of stress or self-doubt and immediately shoves it down. You tell yourself, stay positive, just keep grinding. I don't have time for these feelings.
But here is the startling reality. Research shows that the more we try to ignore or suppress our negative emotions, the more power they actually exert over us. We think we're being tough or professional, but in reality, we're becoming rigid. We're getting stuck.
And being stuck is the ultimate career killer. It leads to burnout, poor decision-making, and a total lack of engagement. You're not reacting to the reality of the situation anymore. You're reacting to the story your brain is telling you.
You know the feeling when you're hooked by a thought, like, I'm not good enough for this project. And suddenly, that thought is driving the car. You're no longer the pilot. Your insecurity is.
It's an exhausting way to live and an impossible way to lead. Most of us are walking around either brooding over our feelings or bottling them up. Neither strategy works. In fact, both lead to lower productivity and higher levels of clinical depression and anxiety.
But what if there was a different way to think about this? What if your negative emotions weren't obstacles to your success, but actually the data points you need to achieve it? This is the core question explored in the groundbreaking book, Emotional Agility: Get Unstuck, Embrace Change, and Thrive in Work and Life.
Susan David is a psychologist at Harvard Medical School, and her work on emotional agility has completely redefined how we view the relationship between our internal world and our external performance.
The single most important idea in this book is that emotional agility isn't about being happy all the time. It's not about positive thinking or manifesting success. It's about the ability to be in a room with your most difficult thoughts and feelings and still choose to act in a way that aligns with your core values.
Think of it like this. Most of us are either fused with our emotions or running away from them. Emotional agility is the space in between. Susan David uses this powerful metaphor of the sky versus the clouds. Your emotions, the anger, the fear, the boredom, those are just the clouds passing through. You are the sky. The sky remains vast and immovable regardless of the weather.
Let me tell you a story from the book that illustrates this perfectly. Imagine a high-level executive named Sarah. Sarah is incredibly successful, but she has this recurring hook in her head. I am a fraud. One morning, she's preparing for a major board presentation. A small error is found in one of the slides.
Now, if Sarah isn't emotionally agile, she gets hooked. She starts brooding. She thinks, I knew it, I'm a fraud, they're going to find out today, I'm incompetent. She enters the boardroom defensive, distracted, and tense. Or she bottles it. She ignores the anxiety, puts on a fake smile, but her brain is so busy trying to suppress the fear that she loses her mental sharpness. She misses a critical question from a board member because she's fighting an internal war.
But an emotionally agile Sarah does something different. She notices the thought. She doesn't try to argue with it. She says to herself, I am having the thought that I am a fraud.
That subtle shift is everything. It's what David calls labeling. By adding the phrase, I am having the thought that, Sarah creates distance. She is no longer the fraud. She is the person observing a thought about being a fraud.
Exactly. And because she's created that space, she can ask the vital question, is this thought helping me right now? The answer is no. So she looks at her values. Her value is contribution and clarity. She acknowledges the anxiety as a sign that she deeply cares about the presentation, thanks her brain for trying to protect her, and then she walks into that boardroom and delivers the presentation based on her values, not her fears.
That is the power of emotional agility. It's the difference between reacting like a programmed computer and responding like a conscious human being. It's about being unhooked.
Susan David shows us that our emotions are actually signposts. If you feel guilt, it might mean you've neglected a value like family. If you feel anger, it might mean a value like fairness has been violated. When you stop running from the emotion, you can actually read the signpost and figure out where you need to go next.
It's such a game changer for anyone in a high-pressure environment. But here's the thing. Knowing the concept of unhooking is just the starting point.
You're right. Emotional agility is a skill, and like any skill, it requires a specific set of tools to master. We've just scratched the surface of how Sarah navigated that boardroom, but Susan David provides a rigorous 4-step framework for making this a daily practice.
In our full 18-minute deep dive on momentum, we go way beyond the basics. We break down the 4 essential steps of the emotional agility cycle: showing up, stepping out, walking your why, and moving on.
We also explore a concept that sounds a bit dark but is actually incredibly liberating: dead person's goals. If you've ever said, "I just want to never feel stressed again," you're actually chasing a goal that only dead people achieve. We'll explain why discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life.
Plus, we'll reveal the specific language shifts you can use immediately to stop an emotional spiral in its tracks. These are the practical, actionable techniques that separate the people who just read business books from the leaders who actually transform their lives.
You don't want to miss the breakdown of walking your why. It's the definitive guide to making decisions when you're under fire. If you're ready to stop being pushed around by your feelings and start leading with intention, you need to hear the full summary.
Don't let your internal hooks keep you from your next level. Join us in the premium version of this episode to get the full roadmap.
Because the world needs you agile, not just busy. We'll see you in the deep dive.